Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome back to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to another round here in the Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship, the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. One day I will get that right. I'm Chaz Draycott, and alongside me I have the wonderful Ed May once again. Ed, we've had a hell of a season so far, mate, but this is going to be one of the real gems on the calendar, isn't it? The Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. And apparently it was meant to be night time tonight, so I think the qualifying session is going to be a lot later in the day than this current practice session is.
Yeah, I think the first race is in the day, but then it starts to move towards evening. I think the final race, it will start to finish under lights. But yes, what a wonderful way to kick off, Chaz. Like you mentioned, the final half of this SimStickers F3 Championship. It's been a real treat from Sebring up until now. And you know what? Charlotte is a circuit that's a far cry from Mid-Ohio, isn't it, Chaz? There's not so many long straights at Mid-Ohio as there are at Charlotte, and plenty of opportunities to send a diving move down the inside into some of these chicanes, two main ones on the banking where we're going to see plenty of action. Then also potentially for some moves to be made down into turn one, because the chicane is very tricky to get right at the end of the lap. And then the first corner, you sweep on through. I mean, when we go on board with some of these cars, Chaz, it's beggars belief how close some of them actually get to the wall at that sort of section of the track. Here we go, Philip Russell.
Yeah, Philip Russell is, to be fair, a very, very confident driver, it must be said. He's usually very, very close to the walls indeed. We're just going to take a quick look at the championship standings. I was looking to see if Jerome Lamy was back out tonight, because we know he likes getting close to a wall. But looking at the championship standings, Bart Daleman is at the top of the proceedings at the moment, ahead of Kevin Zemstra. Kevin's used his consistency recently to get right up there. Carlos Garcia is currently third on 93 points, but as you see, quite the difference to the championship leader, Bart Daleman. Brian Lloyds and Mattis Martinson next up. Jerome Lamy, after a fantastic time at Donington, really propelled himself up into the championship fight. He's sixth at the moment, with Carlos Alvarez behind him. Iker Estefania, Ivan Maynard and Niels van der Kokelt round out the top 10. Martin Deckens has now, after a bunch of amazing performances, equalled Hans Polman's 163 points each for those boys, so it's between the two Flemish cars for the consistency title at the moment. Tim Rutten is next up in third place on 104 points, so not a bad season so far for Tim. Wayne Palmer and Philip Russell round out your top five. They're a couple of points clear of Taylor Lane, Paul Godden, Adam Osiwala, Khan Newen and Daniele Giudici. The next standings to look at, is the team's championship standings. Of course, as you can imagine, Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing top of that by 60 points from the WOSR team, World of Sim Racing. Flemish Sim Sports are third on 111, just 2 points clear of WOSR Club. Team Year 1 in fifth. You can see the rest of them a little bit further down in the standings and, of course, in the points themselves. But at the moment, Ed, we've had a really, really interesting season. We've had plenty of drivers to keep our eye on. Brian Loynes has been quite under the radar for me, though. I think that, that's not under the radar. But Brian's been very, very under the radar, but very, very fast. You know, he's been one of those drivers that's had the consistency. Just, he's not really lit any timing screens completely purple, has he, over the season?
No, he hasn't. I mean, there have been some really amazing performances from him. I mean, Belle Isle in the sprint race, where he looked to almost have, done the dude, made it work, and got the best of Bart Daleman, but it just wasn't quite to be. I had to make the pit stop, as did everyone else. Bart Daleman saved the fuel and ended up taking the win there. But then in Imola, he did manage to secure his first victory of the season, and he has looked very strong, very consistent throughout the remainder of this season. I wonder what he can do at Charlotte, though, because it is a track that I think rewards consistency. When drivers push that a little bit too hard, if you make a mistake, the walls are very close there on the right-hand side, and we'll be hoping that Tim Rutten, that we follow now, won't be taking a trip to them. Tim's actually been doing a very good job as well, we have to say, in the consistency class, but it has unfortunately been a class dominated by really two drivers, not allowing anyone else to get involved, and it's those two Flemish Sim Sports drivers.
Yeah, indeed. He's faster than Martin Deckens at the moment. Martin is currently third in class. Hans Polman's fastest. We only have 8 of the precision drivers tonight, unfortunately, with 10 of the consistency drivers turning up, but to be honest, this isn't going to be a season favourite for a few of these drivers, I can imagine. They're going to have a bit of a tough time out there. Practice has just come to a close, though, and any second now we will get our first grid of the evening. Don't forget, the top 10 in each class are reversed in championship order when it comes to the grid. for the first race, and then the second one is subject to qualifying. We're having rolling starts tonight as well, so this is going to be a little bit different to what we used to. Ivan Maynard starts on pole position with Iker Estefania alongside him. Carlos Alvarez and Mattis Martensen make up row 2. Brian Lloyds and Kevin Zemstra are on row 3, with Bart Daleman 7th, and Ben Hoffman is 8th because he's outside of the championship top 10. Khan Newen is 9th, with Adam Osiwala in 10th. Paul Godden and Taylor Lane make up row 6. Philip Russell is 13th ahead of Tim Rutten. Hans Polmans and Martin Deckens 15th and 16th on the grid. Matthias Groen, Jakub Szymanski and Stephen Grabowski line up at the back of the grid. And what's cool here, Ed, is the fact that we get this awesome NASCAR-style start where all the cars line up together like this and pull away one by one. That looks absolutely awesome, doesn't it? Especially with these WOSR cars all in the line.
Yeah, that's screenshot potential right there. Look at them all neatly lined up, just waiting for the pace car to get underway. We won't go racing as soon as they come up to the line, though. They do a full formation, up a full lap behind the pace car, and then basically as soon as the pace car peels off into the pits, this man, Ivan Maynard, is able to set the pace and determine when he can go. There are some ground rules, of course, though, for this. The drivers have been briefed on what you can and cannot do here at Charlotte, and one of the big notes is all in bold, but Daleman wants to make it absolutely clear what the drivers are allowed to do, and they're not allowed to back up the field on the oval and leave too much space behind them in the pace car. They don't want to have one of these huge carnage-filled sprints into the chicane just at the beginning of the race. They want to make sure it's nice and clean, as many people have a chance to get through as cleanly as possible. So it's good to see that, and everyone in the background is on board with this, because it is going to be a one-time thing. I think for the rest of the season we will be having the standard standing starts.
Yeah, indeed. It's just one of those circuits that when you try and get a car like this away from the line, it's just not going to behave itself. You know, we've had multiple championships that we've either both commentated on or raced in that have had standing starts pretty much everywhere, and then we go to somewhere like Daytona where with all the banking it's just impossible to get the car off the line. Khan Newen has just jumped to the pits. You can see him at the bottom of your timing tower on the left-hand side there. Not quite sure what's gone on there, but he's not taking the start by the look of it. But we've got the 3 Spaniards at the front, Ivan Maynard, Iker Estefania and Carlos Alvarez for WOSR. They will be the lead trio, the front row being Ivan and Iker. And these very, very tasty WOSR cars. What do you think it's going to be like trying to make progress through the field tonight, Ed? Because I don't imagine it'll be very easy at all from my side of things.
I reckon there's a chance for some moves to be made. I think you'll be surprised at how good the racing actually is here at Charlotte, Chaz. There are going to be some really exciting opportunities for drivers to make moves up down the inside if they can fight their way through, and even sweeping around the outside of the banking. If they get a nice slingshot in the toe, these F3s, they do have a lot of downforce. They do get a lot of drag as well as a result, and that means if you're in behind, the slipstream is very, very strong. Here we go into the chicane. It's actually been tightened up in recent years. Before it used to be very, very quick and you could send it through, but it's actually been tightened a little bit to sort of encourage a bit of a heavier braking zone and encourage a few more overtakes from the drivers, and the same as well for the final chicane. So I think, Chaz, you might be pleasantly surprised, but as well, note on Khan Newen and coming into the pits, that could be a tactical choice. Might not want to be involved in all of the carnage coming into that chicane at the start of the race.
That's very true, yeah. You might just think, right, stuff this, I'm going to start from the very back and get out there in a bit of clean air, a bit of a tidy place around me, and not have anyone else to knock me off the road. It's almost time to go, though, at Charlotte. This is the 6th race meeting of the season. We are kicking off the second half of the season with this race meeting. Let's see who can carry the momentum into the latter stages in the best form possible. Round the final corners we go then, and it's a wonderful start by Ivan Maynard. A bit wobbly there by Iker Estefania, Mattis Martensen and Carlos Alvarez, all having a bit of a wiggle, but nice and tidy away. Tim Rutten's made up 3 places already, so he's clearly going well. Paul Godden's lost 2, Martin Deckens has made up 4, but what would you expect? Khan's having an issue with his wheel apparently, as was that an accident further back? It was. There's a car off, it's Jakub Szymanski. Now, just before tonight, I said to Jakub, good luck, I hope it stays clean. He's made it 2 corners, so that is an impromptu commentator's curse. Leader, though, Ivan Maynard, making a very, very strong start. God, these guys have to be careful of these walls, though, don't they? These are fragile little cars, Ed.
You're going out of your way to curse drivers, Chaz. At least I have the decency to do it on the broadcast. You go out and seek them out in the DMs to curse them. That's unfortunate. There's Osiwala Oh dear, the XZ Racing orange driver. You just mentioned they need to be so careful to keep it out of the walls, and what do we see? Another car in the wall. This time the Polish driver is the next victim. Just over-rotates the car, cold tyres. And it's just the tiniest of taps, but it does... You can see a little bit of damage on that front wing. And then there was a coming together. It was two Mamba Simsport drivers, Matis Groen and Jakub Szymanski.
Yeah, I think Matis Groen had a moment. So we'll have a look at what happened here. See whether we can catch him on the blimp. No, the blimp's miles away. So this is Matis, or Matthias. I still don't know how to say it. He's got his teammate on his right. That's Jakub Szymanski. In turn 2. Oh, Matthias hits the inside wall. And then it's Discovery Channel sort of behaviour from the two Mamba Simsport cars. That is gutting, absolutely gutting. Jakub Szymanski already in the chat saying, you have to be kidding me. I'm thinking the same, mate. That is a massive, massive shame. So, further up the order, Mattis Martinsson, third place, right on the back now of Iker Estefania. Slipstream is important here, isn't it, Ed? We hadn't really discussed it too much before the racing got underway, but look at that by Martinsson, commanding stuff down the inside.
Yeah, like you said, like I was saying actually, wasn't it, that chicane is where we can see plenty of moves being made, and Mattis already taking advantage, but look at the run out of the chicane. Iker Estefania, he's not going to let this one go by sitting down, is he? Right down the inside now, into the final chicane, has a look, but backs out. But Mattis was full commitment there. You can see the rear end actually sliding out, wasn't he, on turning? That was brilliant stuff from Mattis. The aggression into that final chicane to hold on to that position was key in securing second place, and now he can set his sights on Ivan Maynard just up the road. Mattis Martinsson looking very, very strong, and we've been saying, haven't we, Chaz, at previous rounds, he looked really, really good at Sebring, but then he started to fade away, and now I think we're seeing the very best of Mattis Martinsson here.
Yeah, we are indeed. He certainly stepped it up a notch. This is Taylor Lane, who is, he's been collected by Martin Deckens. And then, a bit of a moment for Philip Russell as well there. That's going to go down like a cup of cold sick with Taylor. I can tell you that for free. Just a little innocent mover, though, just outbraking yourself there. It's so, so easy to do it in these cars, especially when you're in the slipstream. You've got the overspeed compared to how you're normally going into the corner. Oh my God, Carlos Alvarez looked like he was fast going into there.
Was really fast. Yeah, I was more worried about his teammate Iker Estefania. These cars do not like curbs at all, but Iker was riding them, and you know, it seemingly worked out for him. But look at the gap already that Mattis has created between himself and Iker Estefania. Those were nose to tail across the line just a lap before, and now look, there's a good 7 car lengths between them.
Yeah, Martinsson fastest lap of the race as well, 1:11.343. Look how these cars flow around this circuit. It's great. You can see the understeer, though. I must admit, you see the guys chuck the car in, and it sort of, hello. It pitches itself slightly sideways, but doesn't point the way it's going, or doesn't go the way it's pointing, does it? It's a bit strange. It really does kick the car into a long 4-wheel slide. We've had Stephen Grabowski have an issue just out of the first corner. He's just overdone it over the bump, you can see. Fair play. Taylor avoids him. Stephen doesn't put the car in a dangerous place. And we carry on. It's instantly, though, like you say, Ed, frantic racing straight away. Martinsson chasing for the lead. Look at the curbs that Iker Estefania is taking, though. These guys not taking any liberties here. Tim Rutten is actually ahead of Ben Hoffman. That is consistency driver ahead of precision. Now, Ben is holding up Martin Deckens here, which is quite interesting because Ben is not really in the championship fight in precision, so he's not going to be too worried about it. He's just out there enjoying the racing. I think for his teammate in the consistency championship, he's going to try and hold up Martin Deckens, but you and I both know that's easier said than done. Martin makes it look very easy, and Ben's in the wall.
Ben saw it late and was completely compromised throughout the chicane and ran very wide. I hope that hasn't knocked any of that suspension out of alignment. Just keep your eyes on that right rear. A little bit twitchy, but that's normal for that car, that part of the circuit. I think there might be a little bit of an issue for Ben Hoffman. If we can maybe see from the onboard towards the front at the steering wheel if he's able to hold it straight or not. No, we can't see anything.
Sorry, this is where this is where Tim got past it. Apologies. Ivan Maynard has just gone off, but here is the moment. Ben lets him go. He just has a bit of a lock-up, doesn't he? And then I think he gets away with that, you know. I think he's got away with that. It didn't.
Potentially, he turns it in and it seems all right. There's a little bit of a twitch there, but he seems okay.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too shabby, does it? This is what happened to Ivan Maynard, because not long after we cut away from Ben, Ivan went off the road. Is he going to overdo it over here? That's Ossioala in front. Oh, no! Oh, it's a big old incident. Ossioala loses it. Ivan gets clipped as well by another car behind. That's one of his teammates. That's quite quick thinking as well to let the car go down the road, but Ivan's going to be fuming with that one. Little moment there from Ossioala just in front of him. Actually, no, sorry, it was Khan Newen. Khan Newen had come onto the circuit.
Was that a wheel issue again for Khan Newen?
I think it must have been. We'll have another look at it from on board with Ivan Maynard. Oh, this is where he went off the circuit, sorry. Wait, Ivan was in the race lead. I don't know why, but I had it confused, and I thought he was like third or fourth. But
oh, no, I was confused. Yeah, I was thinking that was Carlos Alvarez for some reason, even though you were saying Ivan Maynard, and that
was the lead change. I was going to say, where was the lead change then? Because I can't see it, but that was it. Unbelievable.
That's got both of us completely off guard because we weren't. I mean, that was just out of nowhere, but that's completely changed the complexion of the race and helped out Mattis Martinson. He was catching, but it's still one thing to catch, another thing to overtake. That's something to tick off your commentary bingo for tonight. But then look at this. Bart Daleman, he's not going to have any helping hands to try and get through on Kevin Zemstra. These two have been going at it, hammer and tongs, all race long, and there's contact there. Kevin Zemstra turns in. Bart Daleman's car was already occupying that space on the apex to come to blows, and Bart Daleman just comes out the better on that occasion.
Oh, no.
And then, Kevin Zemstra with a hit into the wall and a second on the exit. Two blows in quick succession, and he's out.
Oh, no. Oh. Oh, boys. That was Tim Rutten, and he's out of the race as well. That was shoddy. That was very shoddy indeed. I know that there wasn't really much that Kevin could do there, to be honest with you.
Kevin hasn't really got any control of the car, the momentum of it, other than accelerate and brake.
Yeah, because that second wheel went. I think that touch damaged the front right, and then it understeered. And then in the second corner, watch, as he turns in here.
The car does not look good at all, yeah.
Yeah, something's wrong with that front right. It's out of place, and then it oversteers over the crest. He loses the front right. There, it's about to pop off, and then he's just in a straight line. He's turning, and then... I mean, people always do say that whenever there's contact with two cars, it's usually the car behind that is the one that has to try and avoid it. I think in that instance... if we can
look at it from Tim Rutten's point of view, maybe if we have any battles out on circuit that look to be coming to blows, because I want to see...
Sorry, mate. Carlos Alvarez is out of the race as well now. Unbelievable. He's just hit the wall. Massive attrition. We've lost half of the field. We've got 10 cars running now. Adam Ossioala. Actually, Ivan Maynard's gone back out there after a fast repair. Jakub Szymanski is not out there. Khan Newen has gone back out there, though. But, yeah, we've got, I think, 12 cars running now.
I think Khan's got damage. The car looks like it was crabbing a little bit there, or it definitely doesn't look like it's all okay for Khan.
No, this is... Well, there's not much of this race is okay for most of them.
Nothing's been okay for Khan, but it has been brilliant for this man. He's kept himself completely out of trouble. This was Tim Rutten. He sees up ahead.
Oh,
I think he should have just took a bit slower from the yellow flag, and maybe he would have got through that safer and didn't have to make that split decision.
Yeah, it's not gone well. That's a blunt way of putting it. Had a bit of a blip there for a second, everybody. Sorry about that, but yeah, the race has been very attritional so far, as you can expect. Very, very attritional. Martinson leads the way. Estefania is second. Daleman third. Martin Decken started this race 16th overall and is now up into 4th place. Incredible drive. Absolutely incredible. He's got his teammate Hans Pullmans behind him. Brian Loynes is 4th in class, 6th overall. Ben Hoffman right behind him, chasing him for position. And then Taylor Lane is trying to get a class podium off Philip Russell. And Jerome Lamy has actually said that he is going to be in for the second race, which is great news. Good to see.
Good, good. I don't want to, you know, completely expose them, but we can see what drivers are doing on our Discord. It has the little notification. So I hope your football manager was going well, Jerome. Good to see you back. To be fair, I cannot regret you at all. I have been completely addicted to playing FM22 as well, so I can completely understand.
Just got back, he says in the YouTube chat. Well, just got back from what? Millwall away. Oh. Estefania with the fastest lap of the race, 1:11.3.06. And he is certainly flying, but look at that by Bart Delman, a 1:10.6. 1:10.6, that is a very, very quick time indeed. I'm not sure it's going to be enough to the end, but look at the understeer. Honestly,
I mean, that corner is so difficult.
Oh, yeah.
As well in any car, because you've got the full load on the right-hand side, and you need to get an extra bit to turn in for the second part of that double right-hander.
Oh, look at it. The way you've got to turn in early, point the
There's
car
a bit of
at the
oversteer
wall.
on that side, isn't there?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just a little bit. Ooh.
They've got it one way and then the other. As they go up the banking and turn it really hard left, the grip comes to them. And then when they're obviously going down the hill, grip is going away from them. It's an incredibly, incredibly tough circuit. It's very smooth and flowing in most places, but it can just be so, so difficult because of the camber, because of the elevation changes. This is Taylor Lane down the inside of Philip Russell, and he goes back in front into third position in his class. Kevin Zemstra not happy in the chat, and understandably as well. The contact broke the suspension, then ultimately that damage caused his retirement from the race. He's called it the championship decider already. Look how close these guys are getting to the wall across the line, Ed. I mean, we've seen recently people using side draft in a number of races. Oh, a big slide by Taylor Lane. We've seen side draft recently, but that takes it to a whole different level, doesn't it, with how close these are getting?
Yeah, they are. Look at that again. Taylor Lane, the understeer, creeping on in, but every driver is having to deal with it. In fact, it might be quicker to actually run wide of the apex and carry them as much momentum as possible. And then as the track undulates up and down, you get a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of understeer, and then here you can just see the rear end wants to step out a little bit and then close to the wall again on the exit. So difficult to get right, but one driver that has been getting it right all night so far is this man, Mattis Martinsen. Iker Estefani, though, in behind, isn't going to allow it to be smooth sailing, definitely within the slipstream range as well as Iker. So with a couple more laps to go now as you come across the line, 2 laps remain. What can Estefania do? He's reeling him in, you know. Half a second quicker on that last lap was Estefania. Could still all come down to the wire on that final lap.
Yeah, it could indeed. I mean, he's been taking a good few tenths out of him over the last few laps. He was 4 tenths quicker on the lap before, and the one just gone, he's actually done his personal best, which is an 11.2 to the 11.7 of Mattis Martinsen. So he's taking a good 4 tenths and a good half a second away from him per lap at the moment, but the gap remains at 1.6, nearly 1.7 seconds. Is it going to be enough? I think we're going to have to wait and see. Some sort of mistake from from Martinsen for that to change, I reckon.
It doesn't look likely, though. He does seem to be really at home here at Charlotte, and again nails that chicane wonderfully. I think Martinsen's realised now that World Sim Racing team car is getting a little bit closer on his relative, and decided, right, I can't just manage the race, I can't do any gap management, I need to start trying to extend it now, give myself a bit more comfort when the white flag greets me, which it does now. You can see there's Barney waving away. As that time now a lot better for Martinsen.
There was a car off there. I think Khan Newen has actually put it inside the pit lane into turn 1. I thought it might have caused contact with Mattis Martinsen when I heard it, but no. Mattis has been great in this one. I don't think, has he had an overall race win this season? Because was it him that won the very first race, or was it was Nars van der Kokelt, wasn't it, that won the first one?
Yeah, Van der Kokelt won it. So this would be Mattis Martinsen's first taste of top step of the podium, and I mean, you can't say it's not deserved. He's been brilliant all race long, put some brilliant moves on, and then took advantage of misfortune for the drivers up the road. It's a circuit that punishes mistakes and rewards clean driving and consistent driving, and that's been the case for this man. The Swede will You're feeling very, very happy up on the top step as he comes through the final chicane now, Chaz. Here we go.
Does indeed. One more time. Chucks it through the right. Chucks it through the left. Close to the wall. Mattis Martinson wins the first race of the night from Iker Estefania. And Bart Daleman rounds out your podium. Very, very important for Bart to get those points. And, well, there's certainly ill thought of the contact. Fantastic domination again in consistency by Flemish. And Taylor Lane gets a third place in class. Another podium for him. He was just behind Brian Loynes and Ben Hoffman on the road. Just ahead of Philip Russell. Ivan Maynard is going to be the next car to cross the line. He will be finishing 10th overall. And after that very unfortunate incident earlier on where neither driver could really do too much, Ivan will be wondering what might have been with this one. He'll be very frustrated, that is safe to say. Adam Ossioala has just crossed the line. There is Ivan crossing it now. And then we just wait for Tim Rutten, who will be next. And then Carlos Alvarez, actually, not too far behind him. Tim, involved in his own incident, trying to go around Kevin Zemstra's stricken car, unfortunately rolled it over, put it in the barrier. But he still crosses the line to take at least some points away from the race. Carlos Alvarez, the last car to cross the line. And that will be the end of a very attritional race. But what a fantastic win by Mattis Martinson there, Ed. He just got on with it straight away, didn't he? Trying to pick those guys off one by one. And then basically benefited from incident from that point.
Yeah, it was the perfect race for Martinson. That was exactly what he was hoping for at the start, and it worked out beautifully. But what will we see him do in the feature race when you need to manage a lot more than just 13 laps? You've got 28 of a very tricky circuit while also managing fuel and tyres, and a Bart Daleman that's been showing really good pace. He was into the 10s when everyone else was doing 11s, so that could be very, very worrying for everyone looking to try and take race victory in the second race of the evening. But there are the results up on your screens. Take us through them, Chaz.
Mattis Martinson wins then by just over a second and a half from Iker Estefania. Iker had some great pace towards the end and a solid score of points there for him. Bart Daleman continues his championship charge with a third place result. Martin Deckens and Hans Polmans once again top of the pile in consistency. Those two have been amazing. Brian Loynes and Ben Hoffman 6th and 7th. Taylor Lane, another class podium for him, just ahead of Philip Russell, who was unbelievably the last car on the lead lap with 20 seconds to the leader. Really shows the attrition there, doesn't it? The difference. Ivan Maynard, Tim Rutten, Carlos Alvarez, all one lap down. Stephen Grabowski, Adam Ossioala and Kevin Zemstra. And then Khan Newen, Jakub Szymanski, Paul Godden and Matthias Groen were the drivers that either finished more than a lap down or did not finish the race. Incredible attrition here at Charlotte Roval. We did expect a bit of argy-bargy here and there though, didn't we, Ed? We didn't think it'd be completely clean the entire time because it's so tough, this place, isn't it? I mean, the updates, while they have made it a lot smoother than it used to be, it's just a lot harder because the walls are even closer. You know, while the surface is smoother, it means that when the car does get away from you and it does start sort of sliding around, it does it a lot more progressively, doesn't it?
Yeah, and also because the circuit's a lot smoother, you push that little bit harder, you get that little bit closer to the walls because you have the confidence. It's not bumpy, you're not going to get sent into there, and then all of a sudden, one mistake and you're crunching those very, very, you know, fragile bits of suspension into each other, and that's it, the race is over. We saw several drivers make mistakes, but hopefully in the feature race where the drivers aren't quite so eager to push the absolute limits and are thinking more about the long game, we'll see more drivers finishing. But I think only time will really be able to tell us that, Chaz, when we come back after our break.
It will indeed. So we have qualifying coming up, everybody, and then we will have the second race of the night. But for now, from me and Ed May, please do enjoy the break. Just go get a drink, get something to eat, chill out, and we'll be back with you very, very soon. We'll see you in a bit. Apologies for that horrendous increment of the volume there, everybody. That was all on me. Enjoy the tune, though.
hold you close. Now my heart's wide open. When I'm with you, suddenly I feel no pain. Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away? Do you make it? Do you make it go away? Do you make it go away?
Take it slow.
and you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head. It's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Charlotte Roval and welcome back to the Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship, the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 Championship. And my oh my, we had a very, very attritional first race of the night. Chaz, Draycott and Ed May in the commentary box for once again another fantastic evening of racing. Ed, we knew that there was going to be attrition in that first one, and as we discussed at the end of the race there was quite a bit more than even we thought there might have been, but just shows you how tricky this track is when you have to push a car like this that's as sensitive as the Dallara Formula 3 car. Seems like Ed might have fallen off his chair or something, I think. Either way.
I forgot to unmute because I muted my microphone and myself in Discord and only did one of them. But
if only I had a quid for every time I've done that. With having to do it on a Stream Deck and OBS and Discord as well. It's, yeah, it's a minefield as audio, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I was just trying to say before I wasn't able to because I was an idiot that I think both us and the drivers weren't expecting this track to be so attritional, judging by the sheer amount of drivers finishing several laps down, drivers that even make it until the end of the race. But hopefully with that, I guess, trial by fire almost with the sprint races, that drivers will be a little bit more cautious on the feature. They've got a lot longer to go and they need a lot more things to manage, and they'll be a little bit less aggressive on the way they turn into the corners and how close they are willing to get to the walls, just in the sheer aim of looking after the tyres and also maybe a little bit of fuel saving, allowing them to go a bit slower into the corners as well. So Philip Russell does a very nice little pirouette there.
It was, wasn't it, actually? It looked very lovely coming round. That one's not so lovely, although he's probably heard us. He's thought, right, watch this, boys. We'll do another one. Practice is over, which means that we're going to get qualifying. So as this session is going to get darker and darker while qualifying is on, as Brian Loynes finds the big water bucket thingies, this is going to get really dark during the race. We've got a lot of cloud cover here. It's completely clouded over here at Charlotte. I'm really intrigued to see how dark this actually gets towards the latter stages of this session. We had a bit of a blink in and out there for a moment, so apologies for that. Hans Polmans is the first car out on track in qualifying. This is going to be really, really cool to see around here because track position will mean quite a lot to a number of these guys. And I know that with slipstream being so important in that latter stage and in the middle sector of this lap here, Ed, we could see some teams trying to work together. I tell you what, that metallic red looks really good in this lighting, doesn't it, on that Flemish car? I mean, it always looks good anyway, but even better right now.
It really does. They are some absolutely lovely liveries. Like you say, Flemish Simsworld's looking very nice as well. Go for the Gap Racing Philip Russell livery that we mentioned at the start of the season and continue to mention looks very nice. You could just see him in the background of this shot behind the two Flemish cars, and Philip's actually in a pretty good window in behind those two cars. He's going to get almost a double toe, isn't he, in effect down this back straight, or back banking rather, but you can just see they're trying to maybe make sure the gap is enough that they're not getting held up through the corners, but still getting enough of a bit of benefit on the straights. But then look at that. Oh, my word.
Oh.
Well, I thought I had something to say there, but I was just taken away by how bonkers that was. And for some reason, Philip Russell has kept it pinned and carried on. So maybe he's gotten away with that somehow.
I shouldn't laugh. I shouldn't laugh. Which part's this? This is around the final couple of corners. So Martin Deccan's just overdid it, basically, in the chicane. Oh no, this is... Oh god, this is a long way before. This is a long way before. Let's see if we can get it closer to... Yeah, this is it, around the final corners. So he just overdoes it, clips the wall, but then I think Philip Russell gets away with the fact that he hits Martin's car. But Martin doesn't get away with it. Oh, man. Oh, man. Right then, we've got... Well, Car Newman blinking in and out like mad. Damage to the car. That's going to repair itself magically, as it always does here on iRacing. Hans Polmans is going to be the first driver to come around the final corner and set a time. Put one on the board. We saw 1 minute 10s earlier in race paces. Oh, Hansy. Oh, mate. Big drop of the ball there into the final corner. Obviously invalidates the lap. That's just how easy it is to do, though, isn't it, Ed? Alvarez goes fastest to 1:11.9, 1:11.8 for Maynard. But that is as easy as it comes for Hans Polmans. Just have to overdo it one little bit, oversteer, and these cars do not sort of... Well, they're not recoverable, are they?
I wonder how many times we're going to see drivers pushing the limits into that final chicane on the exit and clipping that wall. It's a real killer of lap times in not just the race, but especially in qualifying when drivers are pushing that little bit more. You're going to see Bart Daleman come across the line and find out what he can do. Just seen him come through now. So he breaks the timing beam, does not set a valid lap time, so maybe there was a 0x or just a brush of the wall somewhere that's invalidated the lap time. Even the 0x wall contact is enough to completely invalidate a lap. So drivers need to be incredibly careful of where they position the car and how aggressive they are into the corners, because one mistake can completely undo all the hard work from before us. Look at that, a massive twitch on the exit by Stephen Grabowski. Goes fourth fastest, second in consistency, a nice lap time from the 148, the privateer driver.
Yeah, not bad actually.
Some of the other times coming through, purple sectors coming through. No purple's actually intriguingly for Ivan Maynard, but he goes fastest in this session. Tyres are starting to come more and more into that perfect operating window and creeping into the 10s now as Mattis is looking to try and make it back-to-back race victories. He's waited all season long for one victory, and all of a sudden, you never know, there might be two coming in quick succession.
Yeah, that's a great lap as into the wall has gone. I think that was Khan Newen there that has just jumped back to the pits. He's had a big hit. Bart Daleman crosses the line again, does a 1:10.872. Oh no, he doesn't. Sorry, that was the pole time that he was trying to beat. Bart Daleman does a 1:11.4. Brian Loynes is going to be next across the line. Where's he? Here he is coming out the final corner, very close to the wall on the exit. He crosses the line. Iker Estefania just behind him. Iker, oh, he did, I think, a 12.8, so it'll be an 11.8 for Iker Estefania. 11.747, actually. Not too far off.
Oh, as we just saw a huge moment there from the Sinister racing car over the curbs. Just jumping up into the air and I think slamming into the wall. It just cut away before we could see the end result. As Jerome Lamy, wow, he's been away for a while. He goes 6 thousandths faster than Alvarez to go to the top of the timings. I was going to actually mention the fact that he's coming in late. Has he done enough practice? Well, I think that answers that question pretty thoroughly. Ooh, never mind.
Whee! Well, he's practiced getting close to the wall as Deckens goes fastest in consistency. What could you expect? Martin has just been unreal, hasn't he, this season? He's been phenomenal. It was sort of when, not if, he caught up to his teammate Hans Polmans in the championship, as Bart Daleman goes fourth behind Lamy, Alvarez and Zemstra. But Martin, I don't think, has done as many rounds as Hansy, has he? So that's why we were sort of watching him gradually catch up in terms of the point scoring, because he could only take a couple of points out of Hans per round, couldn't he? Because the two of them are usually 1 and 2 in their class.
Look at Martin, though. He is pushing really hard there. I just saw him getting a little bit squirrely on the exit, but keeping it pinned. It's all about this chicane for Martin. If he can close that gap down and maybe even get ahead of a few more precision class drivers, this could be a very tasty lap time indeed, consistently improving on his sectors. Apart from the third, unfortunately it wasn't quite there for him, but now it's this chicane where you can make up a lot of time if you absolutely nail it. Turns in, carries a lot of speed, and you know what, that was a very good run through. He comes across the line, his teammate just went faster than him, but he does one better, goes up into 7th again. So it is Martin Deckens who retains the top spot of the consistency class in qualifying, but for a moment there, his teammate Hans Polmans just took it away for the briefest of periods. Wow, Bart Daleman.
What?
Disgusting lap time, that is.
3/10
faster.
And it's a 1:10.1. It's almost into the 9s. I mean, I think the conditions will be a lot cooler in this session than they were before, so maybe in relative terms the track temperature will mean quicker times, but that is fast, like really fast. A 1:10.6 for Estefania puts him 5th. Now, you would have thought going into tonight that a 1:10.6 would have been like, oh, easy pole position, you know, that's ridiculous pace. But to consider that that's put somebody 5th really shows you how fast they're going tonight.
Yeah, if we can, Chaz, go on board with Bart, because this could be into the 9s now. He is absolutely monstrous through. Look how close he gets to the wall on the exit. He's looked a little bit slower getting the power down. That could compromise him, but his first 2 sectors were stunning, both personal bests. Very close to being purples as well. Now into this, the final chicane. Look how much speed he takes into it. Perfectly judges it. Just brushes the wall, but he got away with it, and that is it. A 1:09.9. Stunning stuff from Bart Daleman.
Oh my life. Fix. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Bart. Fair play to you. Fair play. Jerome Lamy.
Sector 1 again, so you know what? He could be going for it a second time.
Jerome Lamy's just been off the road again.
Nice and early there. Close to the wall on the exit. Ooh, whisper it, Chaz. He could improve a second time.
Sorry, I wondered what Silas was going on about in the YouTube chat there. He was talking about Alex Johnson has basically had to tell him what his team name is that he drives for because he was putting it wrong in chat or something. Either way, this has been stunning by Bart Daleman as described. We stay with him. It was another personal best, Sector 1. Sector 2, 9.75. Not as quick as Iker Estefania by about a 10th as well. Are we going to see more improvement? Go on, Bart, one more time. Is he going to do it? Oh no, 1:10.0 though. That in itself is rapid, but the fact that that isn't the fastest time is unbelievable, as that is Stephen Grabowski having a moment. Hello, Brian. Oh no. Oh, flipping heck. That was Ben Hoffman, I think, there, having an absolute heart attack round turn 1 there. Scary, scary stuff. We've had Khan Newen go off the road big time at some point. Not quite sure what's happened to him here. Oh dear. Deary me, deary me, deary me. And it sits against the wall, and he was there for a good half a minute after that, so not sure if he is still having those wheel issues and trying to clear them up, but it's a real shame. Khan Newen, a staple in many championships that we commentate on, actually, Ed, and racing as well. He's part of Formula One, is he not?
Yeah, he is. The Hoff himself, Ben Hoffman, who's very, very good fun to race with. That's for certain. A very, very good character as well. Shame that he's not quite up to pace here at Charlotte, down at the bottom of the precision class. But like I say, Charlotte is a very almost Marmite circuit. Some drivers love it. Others just can't get on with it at all for love nor money. They just absolutely hate it. Daleman there. I think he's backing off just a little bit to cool off the tyres before he does yet another run. And when looking at his lap times, I think his 3 quick competitive lap times would still be enough for pole position. You could completely erase 2 of his lap times and still be on pole.
It's incredible pace, and I mean the confidence that he can get from that is absolutely insane. We continue on with qualifying then. I believe we're about halfway through at the moment. We'll get the session timer up at the top. Yeah, 10, nearly 11 minutes now through the session, so still quite a lot of time left to go. And you can hear somebody somewhere is absolutely nailing the revs. Not quite sure what they're doing, but Sounds like somebody is just absolutely slapping it off the limiter. Martin Deckards is currently fastest then in the consistency class. We bring that up at the top. 1 minute 10.7. He's sat in the pits. Taylor Lane is second fastest, although he has just had an issue here. What has gone on for Taylor? As whoa, that's Grabowski, and Taylor has sort of done that in sympathy, has he not? Wow. Long slide and spin. Taylor's been really, really great to see, though, in this championship. I mean, he's really been enjoying himself racing out there. He had a great time at Mid-Ohio, and he was saying that he really hopes he can do the rest. It's just his work schedule, basically, that has stopped him from appearing at a number of rounds. But he's done this before, actually, where we've just had him for a couple of rounds in a championship, and he's ended up as a championship contender, you know. He's that quick and that consistent is Taylor, so it's good to see it. I've known him for a while. I used to race with him at Beast Racing, which is run by none other than iRacing's very own Drew Adamson. Taylor and I used to race together, spend many a night until, well, up until about 3-4 in the morning doing official races together and practicing, because we were both complete night owls. Taylor always has been, to be fair, but he's a good lad.
So we right at home then under the lights tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely, mate. He will absolutely love it. He'll relish it. Absolutely relish the chance to race at night. Certainly good at that. I actually recently commentated on him in the Race Anywhere World Series, the US Championship. Actually, we both commentated on Taylor in that championship at silly o'clock in the morning on multiple occasions, as we did, which was, I'd like to say fun, but a challenge, I think, is the way to put it. Not anything to do with the series fault, but you know, the time differences. We were basically commentating on what were American time zones, so I think our broadcasts usually started about 1:30 in the morning, finished after 3 a.m, didn't they? Very, very tough indeed. Bart Daleman continues to lap very, very quickly. And, oh, just had an issue, I'm afraid, for Ed, so he will be stepping away for just a moment. He's had a PC crash, he's just informed me, so sorry about that, everybody. But Ed will be back with us as soon as he can be. So you're stuck with me now. Sorry. Jerome Lamy's been doing well. 4th place at the moment in this session. Continues to try and push again. Look how close he gets to the walls, man. It's so mad. Who has gone around there? That is Zemstra. Lamy drives around the outside of him, nearly hits the wall. Zemstra is pushing a little bit too hard there, it seems. As well, just behind him, is that Khan Newen or was that Osceola? Well, there's Osceola going past Khan Newen. Khan Newen makes himself very well known to us there, having a spin. Seems like still having wheel troubles, I'm afraid, which is not ideal. Paul Godden improves, knocks this man down a position, Stephen Grabowski. You can hear cars are stationary at certain points of the track. Ah, that looked like it was Philip Russell. Nope. Paul Godden. And he's got company as well. There's another car stopped there next to him. Who was that? Not quite sure who that was, actually. Philip Russell now coming into the pits. Creeping his way down the pit lane. But Bart Daleman still fastest at the moment by just over a quarter of a second from Iker Estefania, who has gone second fastest. Kevin Zemstra third, Lamy fourth, then Mattis Martinson, who won the earlier race. It's Brian Loynes, Carles Alvarez, Ivan Maynard, Martin Deckens and Hans Pullman's the top two once again in consistency class. Bart Daleman doing a 1:10.4. I don't even have words for how hard he threw it through turn 1. Screams his way around turn 2, flicks it to the right of turn 3, gets on the brakes, lets the back end step out slightly. You've just got to manage the car around the long right-hander down the hill. The car would love to step out and have a big old spin, but you've just got to tell it no. Jerome Lamy has done 2 personal best sectors on this lap, so he's improving at the moment. No improvement in sector 3 though. Mustn't have had the run onto the banking through the chicane once more. He got incredibly close to that wall once again, and I think he's just hit that wall there, you know. Have to see whether this lap even counts for him. He's along the blue and white line, and yeah, look, he's trying to sort of open the corner up, get a good run down to the chicane to carry a bit more speed. Use the Astro on the left. You can get away with a lot of that there without triggering the track limits. Rides the wall down the start finish line. 1:10.8 for Jerome Lamy. Bart Daleman is improving once again. It seems he's done a purple sector 1. For some reason, they don't come up purple on the qualifying thing there at the bottom, and he goes even faster. And there is Ed May. Hello.
Hello. I'm back just in time to see Bart Daleman do something filthy.
Yes.
How on earth can he keep doing this, Chaz? How can he keep getting away with this?
I don't have a clue. I really don't. I'm also not sure why, for some reason, in our qualifying sort of timing thing that comes up at the bottom, overall best sectors are not coming up as magenta as they should. Confuses me, so apologies for that, everyone, but we will try and fix that. Bart will be over the moon with that time, though, to go even quicker, even though it's just a couple of thousandths. To just go that little bit quicker, it'll make all the difference. As a driver, you know, that's so rewarding, and it's such a confidence boost to be able to still have a little bit more in your back pocket, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's all about confidence on a circuit like Charlotte. If you don't have faith in yourself and the car when you chuck it into and against and up to the walls, then you've really, unfortunately, got no hope of getting anything out of the races here. So it's really good for Bart Daleman. But Kevin Zemstra will take some comfort knowing that he isn't actually miles off of Bart Daleman's pace, and with the slipstream being as strong as it is here at Charlotte, with the banking and those long flat-out sections, it's still not all over and done with yet. You can follow a lot closer than you can at previous rounds, especially Mid-Ohio, where it was a lot more of a tricky affair to try and follow and pass a car. Here it becomes a lot easier. So Kevin Zemstra has got that going for him, of course. The disappointment of the first race where he lost out massively in relation to his main championship rival Bart Daleman. This is his real chance to try and get back, and maybe not quite on level terms, but definitely try and claw something back at this stage.
Yeah, and it's important to Kevin. You know, he wears his heart on his sleeve with his racing. He really does enjoy it. He's had a lot of issues recently with cramping, actually, in his left leg. I think he's had a number of consultations, and I think he's even got an operation plan for it. I'm not quite sure, but forgive me, Kevin, if you haven't. But I know that he's had a lot of cramping and stuff where he's struggled to press the brake for as long as you need to over races like this. He's done a 1:10.058, though. Nearly dips under the 109s. Ivan Maynard on his last lap did a purple sector 2, but he has stopped there as, someone has had a moment. Whoa,
and Bart Daleman is into the 8s. 1:09.8s.
Unbelievable. And then throws it at the barrier just for good measure. Unreal. Here is the fiercely forward car of Taylor Lane. Going around the final couple of corners. Looking to improve, maybe trying to separate those two Flemish cars, but no. He's not able to at this certain moment. Just under a minute.
As well, actually, Chaz, the reason why that livery looks so good. Look at the helmet. It blends in with the sort of red visor.
Yeah, I do like that. I love that from Taylor as well. Bit of a slide through turn 3. Now, I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to start another lap either. That would have been his last one. But did a purple sector 3 last time round. That's what made the big difference on his lap. Still not sure why the qualifying mode doesn't show purple sectors as actual purple, so I'm sorry about that, everybody. I will try and figure that out. But right now, we've only got a couple of drivers on circuit. Only about 4 or 5. Carlos Alvarez through the final corner once more. 5th fastest at the moment. Clatters into the wall, so that will not be a valid improvement for him. Around the final corner. Oh, okay then. That is a big old hit into the wall. Jerome Lamy has started a lap. Now, is this going to be the one? Carl Newen is about to cross the line. Have a quick look at what he can make of his final corner efforts. Barney waves the flag. Waves it that aggressively. It's almost like he's trying to hit the drivers with it as they go past. But right now, Jerome Lamy is the man to watch. Taylor Lane pulls into the pits. This will be the final lap of the session here, Ed. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, no improvements, and it was actually quite a slow sector 2. Sector 3, though, looking good for him. Personally,
oh yeah,
gives up. It will be quick if he does that. Doing a NASCAR style. Is he going to ignore the next chicane, or is he going to peel it into the pits? Let's have a look.
Go on, Jerome. Do it for the lols. Go through the cones.
Go through the cones.
Yeah. Oh. Love it. Barney's like, go on, lad. Let's see what that lap counted as. Oh, it doesn't actually tell you. It doesn't update the time, so never mind.
I think it was a 1:04, I think. Because it said 1:05 when he comes across the line, but we need to remember
it takes a second.
Do that and then take a second away.
Yeah. We fell for that in Formula 1. Me and Jack Johns both tried to sort of analyse when it did that. So much like in real life, you see the timer exceed the lap time that the driver's actually done, and then it sort of counts it back to when it's picked up the information based on the rendering delay. So you do get to take a second off, so you do sort of guess what time they've done before it shows up. However, Bart Daleman will take another pole position here in the NEVO SimStickers Formula 3 Championship, and we just wait for the session to tick over here at Charlotte Roval. You can see the grandstands pretty full for qualifying. I imagine they will fill up a lot for the race, but it's very, very gloomy, very cloudy here right now. There's been the odd little hint of sunshine coming through, hasn't there, Ed? But it's not been that bright coming into this next and final race of the night.
Yeah, I'm wondering when it... Oh, I was going to say wondering when it's going to get darker.
There we go.
There's the answer. It's very gloomy now, as we see. It's going to be very dark when we come to the end of the race, but look at that Bart Daleman. Pole position, stunning time for him.
It is indeed a really, really good lap time indeed. Puts Kevin Zemstra in second place, though, just 2/10 off. Iker Estefania and Brian Loynes make up row 2. And then we have Carles Alvarez and Jerome Lamy on row 3. Mattis Martinson lines up alongside Ivan Maynard on row 4. Row 5 is the top 2 in consistency. Martin Deckens alongside Hans Pullmans, with Ben Hoffman and Taylor Lane on row 6. Matthias Groen and Tim Rutten make it an all-Dutch row 7. Philip Russell and Paul Godden make it an all-British row 8. Then it's Stephen Grabowski. The American is 17th ahead of Khan Newen, with his teammate Adam Ossioala at the back of the pack. So, who is your money on here, Ed? Do you think Bart Daleman can do this and run away with it? I mean, we've got a rolling start, which is going to be easy for him to command based on what we saw in the first race.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be a fool, I think, to bet against Bart. When he was very, very strong in that first race, making up plenty of positions. He kept it consistent as well, which is the main thing that drivers have been struggling to do at this track. So I think, for my money, well, and the smart money, I think as well, has got to be on Bart Daleman, but never write off Kevin Zemstra. He was very, very aggressive in that first race and has a point to prove in this second. And then Iker Stefani, he was closing in. Let's not forget on Mattis Martinson towards the end. He showed good pace, potentially race-winning pace, but it will all come down to how the drivers manage the slipstream as well, coming into these heavy braking zones.
Yeah, it's going to be all important for some of these guys. Zemstra's got quite a bit of work to do from this position here to stay with Bart and then obviously overtake him. Like we said before, part of commentary bingo, that catching is one thing, overtaking is quite another. But we'll stay on board with Kevin Zemstra for a moment and just show you through the sort of procedure that goes on here in these warm-up laps. And look, he's doing a Verstappen already. He's trying to stay alongside Bart as they set off, just to get in his head a little bit. They will stay sort of too wide throughout this, but a lot of the time they will filter into single file for the chicane just to make life that little bit easier. There's the rest of the field behind. Interesting that it's not just dark, but it's really overcast as well, so we've got cool conditions to go with what would be cool conditions anyway, actually, Ed. I'm quite intrigued to see how the tyres do in this race.
Yeah, I think it is going to be very interesting. I mean, usually the drivers, in fact, I think we've always seen the drivers keep the same set of tyres on from the start of the race till the end. It's just all about how they wear and what the drop-off is like, if there is going to be any significant amount. And then maybe towards the end of the race, drivers that have looked after their tyres better will have a bit more to work with come the end. Bart Daleman and Kevin Zemstra up at the front, going down to Paul Godden now towards the back. SimStickers Racing didn't have the best qualifying, did Paul? But good to see him out on track. And Mattis Groen not taking to the start, Chaz. Is that...
Yeah,
have we got any information on that? Is that maybe...
I think something's happened here. Ah, that's why Paul's down at the back. So he's had a moment through turn 1. Matthias Groen has just decided to start from the pit lane, it seems, because I think Khan Newen only did that in the first race because of his wheel issues. But yeah, I think Matthias Groen has taken the opportunity here to start from the pit lane and avoid any potential incidents. Obviously, not forgetting that he was involved with his very own teammate Jakub Szymanski in that first race, and Jakub has actually not come into this second race either, I'm afraid. So he's not having a good evening of it by the look of it. Have to just see how they progress, I suppose, throughout this one. But as you see with the darker conditions here, we do not have the lights on yet on the safety car or the circuit, so they will suddenly just pop into life as the race comes on. I'm really excited to see how it looks when they do come on. Obviously, you'll see all the spec maps, the matte and glossy sections of the car, the metallic bits as well, all the helmet designs too. It'll look absolutely stunning, I'm sure. Right now, though, very gloomy, very dark here at Charlotte. Just about to get underway then. Your money definitely on Bart for this one then, Ed?
Yeah, you'd have to be silly not to. He's been looking very strong in qualifying, setting, you know, pole time after pole time. Although Kevin Zemstra with a lot to prove, but I don't think it'll be enough against Bart here. He's looked really strong.
Only one way to find out, I guess. He's trying to put a bit of pressure on Bart here, get close to him and just sort of prove the point. The safety car even tries to fake Bart out there and sort of left-hand downs him. Bart gets going, though, into the chicane. Zemstra moves over to the left, and the feature race here at Charlotte is underway. There's a car on the way into the pits, which I think is Philip Russell. Everybody makes it through the chicane nice and tidy. A little bit of shimmying around further down the order, but it looks like everyone has made it through. We're on board with Ben Hoffman, so you can just see proceedings from further back here. There's very little contrast out there on the circuit right now. It all blends into one. This is going to be really tough for the drivers to actually see where they're going. It's all one big grey blur, isn't it?
Yeah, Ivan Maynard as well, actually just ahead of Ben Hoffman, has had a, well, not the best of starts. You can see Taylor Lane looking to go down the inside, goes for a move, and they come together. Oh dear, oh dear. You could see that Taylor Lane was going down the inside. You could see it happening, and unfortunately I think the only driver that didn't see it was Ivan. Really, really a huge shame for him, because he already had a bad start, and that's just made it even worse.
Yeah, Ben Hoffman actually managed to avoid it as well. Iker Estefania just missed out on hitting that, and to be fair, I think Philip Russell avoided the incident as well. Top two have broken away here. Estefania, Loins, Alvarez. I actually mentioned Estefania. I think Estefania is only here because he went off track, actually, so apologies for that. For some reason I thought he was further down the order, but third place. He's got a big train behind him, but look at the two Flemish cars just sat there. 8th and 9th at the moment overall. First and second in their class, as they would want to be. And they're going to hopefully remain that way for their own sake. We've got Brian Loins and Estefania having a fight. Brian with those yellow glowing wheels. He's attacking while having to defend as well, because Carlos Alvarez is right there with him.
Yeah, that was Iker Estefania just getting back ahead of Brian Loins. He dropped back for a moment, but then got back through and is looking to try and streak away from Brian Loins. But Brian himself, he was very consistent in that first race, wasn't he, Chaz? Nice and stable. Oh, that's the exact opposite. Very unstable into turn one. Ben Hoffman off into the wall.
Yeah, big old hit there for Ben. But yeah, like you say, some of these drivers, they can just pull an amazing result out of a hat like a rabbit. And it's really, really exciting to watch us. Oh, good awareness there by Brian Loins, but oh, maybe too much awareness. Too much awareness, gets clouted nearly, but Jerome Lamy in the avoidance has put his car in the wall, and he's completely lost drive by the look of it. It's just picking that rear wheel up off the ground. Oh, Brian Loins tried to avoid the incident. Look, he stamps on the brakes, gets on the power again. The car goes around. Jerome Lamy tries to avoid it. I think he gets hit, actually, by Carles Alvarez. Mattis Martinson, whoa, when the cameraman stops falling over, it will show us that he got away, and I think there might even be damage on the 18 car there as well, Ed.
Dear, oh dear, not good at all for Jerome Lamy. Was looking to come into this feature race, missing out on the sprint and getting some good points, but that's got to be heartbreaking. The pace that he's going, it's incredibly slow. It might actually end up being faster, you know, just to tow it back into the pits, but yeah. Heartbreak for Jerome Lamy. Really, really gutted for him. I was excited to see what he could have done in this race, but it just wasn't to be. He's gone now into the pits. Bart Daleman, though, he'll be pleased with all of the action in behind him, because it's allowing himself to extend his advantage and look to extend his championship lead as well over Kevin Zemstra, who's now 2.5 seconds behind, well, last season's, and could be this season's champion if things continue the way they're going.
Yeah, indeed. He's certainly making a good bid for it at the moment. A 1:10.1 in race pace to the 1:11.0 of Zemstra. Really shows how quick Bart is. No one else able to live with him, really. Alvarez did a 1:10.5, actually, to be fair to him, so he's got some good pace on him. Martinson a 10.7. Deckens a 10.9. So he leads the consistency class once again. We can barely see that car on the surface there for a second because it's that dark. But the lights have been coming on. There's been the you can see the little reflections coming off the cars as they go around the banking on the edge of the circuit. But it's not quite bright enough yet for us to see that it's under lights. We're sort of in that twilight zone of the race already, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's a shame that we've got so many clouds as well, actually, because usually the sky would be ablaze with orange, but because of how cloudy and overcast it is, it's actually quite dreary and grey, which is a bit of a shame, but that does allow the circuit lights to sort of come to the forefront a little bit more as Brian Loynes goes through quite easily on Stephen Borowski, who was just allowing the precision class driver through. Stephen's going to be very pleased with this, though. He's up 7 places since the start of the race, partly because of drivers getting involved in incidents around him, but just as well on pure pace alone because he's ahead of several consistency class drivers. It's been a wonderful start for the privateer.
And your Fungus in the chat as well saying it's easy to see the year 1 cars, and yeah, that is completely correct. It is easy to see them in these conditions with their very, very bright branding, their very bright wheels as well. This is Tim Rutten, 8th place at the moment, 3rd place in class, 6 places gained since the start of the race as well. So not a bad run so far for Tim Rutten. He'll be pretty pleased with that, but he won't be pleased about the 3.5 second gap to this man. Hans Pullman's ahead of him by quite a distance as Grabowski's off the road. Oh, and there's damage to the car, and Philip Russell's gone into him. Philip's lost it. Oh, and he's been hit again. Oh, that was Ivan Maynard, who already had damage. I'm not sure if Ivan had some sort of issue on his own. Let's have a look. So Philip Russell has lost it, gone around. Maynard has lost it and hit the wall in avoidance. Grabowski's losing it. Philip Russell's had his own moment and then spun it and hit him, and then Ivan hits them both again. Flipping, it's like they're driving with the foreheads. Oh, man. 110.000600660 for Bart Daleman as Maynard, well, that doesn't make a great choice in my opinion. Look at this, look at it shaking there.
Yeah, pulling it off into the pits, but I'm just gobsmacked. Because the commentator, you know, it strikes again. What was I just saying about Stephen Grabowski's race? And yeah, brutal, heartbreaking stuff. They're all going for it.
You can't. It's like Robot Wars. So here we go.
Just
so
don't give me ideas.
The two
don't
cars.
Give him ideas.
The 2 cars in front go off. Philip Russell avoids one, avoids the other, loses it, hits Grabowski, hits the wall, sees Maynard get hit, makes his own recovery, and then all of a sudden... You cannot make this up. You cannot make this up.
It's beggars belief.
It just
that's what it is.
There's so many things you could hit. There's so many things you could hit, but you managed to hit a car that's only one of what? Probably about
Have
6.
us been anywhere else,
yeah.
please. Please,
oh,
for
man.
our sanity, anywhere else on the track, we'd love it. And I can't believe it. That
was a hell of a sequence.
Top 10 highlights worthy, surely.
No,
Send that to iRacing.
That was a definite not top 10 highlights moment there. So much so that we're just going to take a second and have a little look back at it. So we're going to go from the blimp here. So Stephen Grabowski, he has a moment. Ivan Maynard has a moment. Philip Russell then avoids them and has a moment. He then hits Stephen Grabowski, who goes off. Ivan Maynard then comes back in, hits them both. Philip Russell is recovering. He comes back on track, and then out of nowhere, Matthias Krohn classes into him. You honestly could not make this up. Oh, man.
It's a comedy of errors.
It is. It is. I shouldn't laugh at him.
If you're not laughing at this, you're crying.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
I honestly, yeah. I hope you all appreciate the work of director there on that one. I was quite pleased with that. But still, let's just have a recap then. Bart Daleman leads the race. He has a 6.4 second lead over Kevin Zemstra. Alcantech NHR by Nyman Racing lead the team's championship. And is it surprising when they're second and third once again? Iker Estefania is fourth, Carlos Alvarez is fifth. They're not too far apart, actually. Then they've got Martin Deckens behind, who's got his teammate Hans Pullmans completing a 1-2 in the class currently. Tim Rutten is third in class, ninth overall, just behind Brian Loynes, who is eighth. Then Adam Osceola is 4th in class after gaining 9 places this race to move up to 10th. Paul Godden is 5th in consistency.
Deep breaths, everyone. Deep breaths.
Mate, I know. Oh, I can't get over those few moments there, how that all transpired. But this is actually a nice little trio here between these guys. We've got Carlos Alvarez, who is not too far behind at all the 2 guys ahead of him. So it's very, very close indeed. Martin Deckens is just behind them. Gap overall, though, between these 3 is about 3 seconds. Between all 4 of them, that includes Martin Deckens. It's about 3 seconds, actually, between the bunch. But it's Martinson, Estefania and Alvarez at the moment. Alcantech against WOSR. This little trio. Iker in the middle of it. They're all doing very similar lap times as well, between the 1:10.2s and 1:10.5s. So only a couple of tenths either way in what is this sort of Newton's cradle of Formula 3 cars. But they look so good coming around that section there, don't they, from that camera angle?
They really do. This is one of the better views that we've had of cars going through that section of the circuit. Mattis Martinson, though, up for position since the start of the race. He's on a real charge and closing in, reeling in Kevin Zemstrom. That race pace from Mattis has been absolutely storming. But are we going to see team orders coming into effect? Because Kevin Zemstra, he has the championship to worry about. He wants to make sure that he has the best possible chance of staying in the championship fight and trying to take away Bart Delman's crown, and being in 3rd place will certainly dampen those chances.
Yeah, it will. It really will. It's just all about chipping away at one another in this sort of championship, isn't it? You have to just try and be as consistent as possible absolutely everywhere and see how you can go about each and every race. You've got to take a lot of them as they come to you, though. You know, you have to treat a lot of races on a lap-by-lap basis. Sometimes, even if it's going well, you can never predict some of the things that can happen. You know, like we saw with Philip Russell before, all of a sudden a car comes out of nowhere and hits him. I know he'd already had his own moment, but even if he hadn't have had that moment, you never know when a car can randomly hit you. We're on lap 10 here at the Charlotte Roval. It's getting darker and darker, and the lights are starting to be a bit more obvious around the edge of the circuit. We've got a great little quadruple battle going on here, actually, as Martinson is now closed right in behind Kevin Zemstra. What's happened to Kevin on this lap? He's lost a lot of time. He's done a purple sector 2.
I think he was just being closed in on by Mattis Martinson. That gap was about 1 second. I mean, sector 3 is not stunning from him on this lap, but I think he's just been getting reeled in by the sheer pace of Mattis Martinson, who's been very quick at this stage of the race. And that could be game on, you know, Chaz. Team orders, we'll see if that's going to be the case.
Yeah, 0.6 of a second quicker on that last lap was Mattis Martinson, so definitely something going awry there for Kevin Zemstra. He was a tenth slower in sector 1, but he was a good 3 tenths slower in sectors 3 and 4, so that's where most of the time got lost. So maybe just some sort of mistake coming onto the banking or something for Kevin Zemstra. You're right, though, we could see team orders here, but we could also see them have a good scrap as well. Silas isn't here to crash into them, so have at it, boys. Love you, Silas. You know it. They've just got to be a bit careful, though, because they've got to think about the 2 guys behind them, Iker Estefania and Carlos Alvarez. They may not be right on their exhaust pipes, but at the end of the day, they're in striking distance should anything happen, aren't they?
Yeah, 100%. No one's in striking distance for Bart Damons. Martinson comes into the pits early. Is this an attempt of an undercut, perhaps?
Could potentially be. He's thinking about aero wash around here, because you are following cars around very high speed, very smooth corners. That's where aero wash can get very strong in cars like this and really hurt you. So if he feels that he's quicker than Zemstra, he's going to try and do it the simplest and quickest way. He's going to come into the pits when Kevin isn't there, try and do a nice fast outlap and get on with it. He's just come back out the pits now. He's behind that wall. There he is popping out, and he's come out in clean air as well. He's got a good gap over Brian Loynes behind him. So this is the time now where we could see Mattis Martinson really push. We'll keep an eye on the lap times. Zemstra, he's going to be conscious of that now, and he's going to push. Carl Newen letting the traffic through. This could get very, very interesting, but it always does with the pit stops, doesn't it, Ed? It always gets interesting when these pit stops come in because we see drivers have slower stops and faster stops and sometimes big issues in the pit lane like we saw at Donington.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can hopefully, if the drivers doing their best to make sure it's nice and clean on the way into victory, is Bart Daleman does a 1:09.8. I think that's quicker than what he did in qualifying.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was well inside the 8s in quali, but that's just stupid. That is ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely.
That's something else from Bart Daleman. Really, really stunning drive from him so far, and the gap he's extending over Zemstra, it's consistently growing and growing at a decently fast rate as well, you know. It's
I should show it
nearly
actually,
10
shouldn't
seconds.
I forgot to turn it on. I only tend to turn it on after the first lap or so, but I forgot to show you. Philip Russell has unfortunately dropped it. Oh dear. Well, the go for the gap car has gone for the wall there, I'm afraid. And it's going to go for the back of the trailer. The gap in the back of the trailer where the car is supposed to be. So Philip out of this one. Either that or he's still in the pits, so he might be just getting a fast repair, get the car sorted out and hopefully get back out there. Top 3 in consistency are chronological on circuit at least. Deckens, Polman's, Rutten, 1, 2, 3. 5th, 6th and 7th in the overall standings. Deckens into the pits actually. Oh, a bit of a slide onto the brakes there. You can hear the very noisy Delaras make their way past our camera. Polman's in as well. Tim Rutten carries on. So he's going to do another lap at least compared to these guys. Estefania has just done his fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.3. Having quite a clean race at the moment ahead of his teammate Carles. These guys, honestly, this season, to be fair, Ed, the 3 of them, the 4 of them, however many there are, they've all been mixing it up amongst each other. For me, no offence to any of them, because I believe it is Estefania that's 3rd in the championship, but out of all of them, I couldn't pick one that's the fastest. You know, they've all had their own good moments, haven't they?
Yeah, I think it was Carlos Alvarez who was ahead, because Iker Estefania, let's not forget, at Donington conceded the race victory to his teammate. But with the performances from Iker Estefania, I mean, he picked up his first win, didn't he? Was it in the sprint race at Mid-Ohio last time out, Chaz?
Yeah.
If I can remember rightly. So, I mean, from recent events, Iker could be the main hope for this team in the championship, as they're both very, very sliding onto the brakes, aren't they? Shows how committed they are on trying to get every last 10th of a second in the pits. But it's Daleman, Zemstra, Estefania and Alvarez. Where is Mattis Martinson going to come out? Good eye, Chaz, because he's coming through the chicane now. Pitted earlier, so that probably means he had a shorter stop, taking on less fuel, coming in on a lap. I think it was lap 12 Mattis pitted. His driver's pitting in on lap 15. Comes through in behind Bart Daleman as we expected, but comfortably now ahead of Kevin Zemstra.
Yeah,
actually, no, not comfortably.
No, he's right ahead, but it's worked. The plan has worked for Mattis Martinson. He came in on lap 11, and those guys came in on lap 14. I think it was just because Bart crossed the line, basically, that it told us that it was lap 15 on the timing. So Martinson makes it work. I love how the lid matches the wing mirrors on the car. Look how much he's pushing, though, through there onto the banking. Absolutely fantastic. Like you say as well, Alvarez now ahead of Estefania. I do want to go back on board with Carlos Alvarez, though, and have a look at him entering the pit lane, because that thing looked very out of shape on the way in. Oh, this is just when he enters the actual pits itself. Sorry, let's just have a look at when he gets into the pit lane. Whoa. One way then the other. It's very easy to do that, though. I mean, it's a lot easier to get one of these cars into the pits than it is to get a NASCAR in, isn't it, when you're trying to turn and brake at the same time?
I'm just watching all the progress of the drivers and what's going on through the pits. Obviously, Kevin Zemstra has dropped back behind Mattis Martinson. Carlos Alvarez got ahead of Iker Estefania. And I was trying to follow other drivers throughout the pits. I mean, Taylor Lane's now coming on in.
Seems quite late, that, actually, doesn't it, from Taylor, coming in on lap 16. Good couple of laps further than everybody else. There has been an issue for Brian Loynes, I'm afraid, and then Carl Newen has had a problem. This is what happened to Brian. Whoa, if you wanted a side profile, there it is. Oh, that
dear.
was Hansy. That was Hansy avoiding him. Has that damaged the car? Doesn't look like it, but that was a very, very scary moment. Khan Newen. Oh, no, don't tell me. Oh, I thought he might have collected Brian, but no, he's had his own little moment there. At turn 1, reverses it, gets going again. He had quite a gap behind him, so he was safe to do that as well. Taylor Lane nearly running wide there out of turn 3. But Bart Daleman continues to lead here by 10 seconds. It's been another very dominating performance by him so far. We've just gone over the halfway point of this race. We're on lap 17 of 33 now. So still, plenty of time for things to change, plenty of time for more pit stops. This is far from over yet, isn't it, Ed?
Yeah, there is still lots to play for, but I mean, Bart Daleman, he's been really dominant so far this race, hasn't he? You can't put it in any other way other than just sheer dominance up at the front of the field. He's started to take his foot a little bit off the gas. I think his lap times, I mean, they're still rapid as anything, but definitely not at the full pace we know he can do consistently. Ivan Maynard there with a personal best, comfortably inside the 10s. Looking now to, I don't know, try and get something out of this race. He's 18 seconds behind Tim Rutten, and passing him won't get him any more points. So he's basically just racing around, hoping that drivers ahead of him in class will suffer. But the only ones he'll be hoping to suffer would be drivers first, second, and third. Carlos Alvarez and Iker Estefan in 4th and 5th are his teammates. As Alvarez just gets ahead, actually, of Kevin Zemstra. Zemstra has actually had an issue. As soon as I say it,
no,
that misfortune has started to come through. And that's a huge blow for the championship, Chaz. Huge blow.
Just clips the curb a little bit too much, hits the barrier. Now, I've always told everybody, Ed, that out of all the commentators I know, you have the most powerful commentator's curse I have ever seen, and Kevin Zemstra is going to send you a lot of hate mail now. So, well, regardless of commentator's curse, that is a big, big moment in this championship. It has to be said. You're absolutely bang on with that there, Ed. That is a very, very big change. I was just about to go to Matthias Groen going past Paul Godden for P11, which isn't as sort of detrimental to anybody's championship, but Paul just moves over to the right and says, after you, mate, you can have all of that space. And through you go. We're getting a little bit more light now and a bit more shadow on some of these cars as the floodlights fill the arena, which is great to see. But right now, Mattis Martinsen needs to push to try and avenge his teammate in the championship. I just don't think he's going to be able to do enough about Bart Daleman right now, no matter how fast he is, because Mattis, like you said at the top of this evening, Ed, he has been so impressive with this sort of return to pace again. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant to see, but yeah, do you think the drivers will want me in for next season, Chaz? If,
no.
If this keeps up, definitely not, but I'll be eager to get back into it, because I mean, this has been a stunning season so far, into the final half already, and I mean, this is going to be a final half that Mattis Martinsen is really fired up for. You can see in the pace he's been putting on in the past couple of rounds. He has really been up there, and it's great to see the return to form, like we've been saying, of this man, Mattis Martinsen, who showed a lot of promise early on in the season. It was promise that was, I think, taken away by a few little incidents that befell him, and then it just kept on going from bad to worse. I mean, Imola was pretty heartbreaking for him. He showed loads of pace, was really, really strong, but then incidents around him that he was then involved with that took him out of the equation. But finally, he's having a good round here at Charlotte. Finally for him. It's really, really good as well, because he's one of the drivers that I think you and I sort of, we pick some drivers to root for, don't we, almost? It's not like we have favourites, but we have drivers that, you know, it's a good story if they do well, and I think Mattis is, it's definitely a good story to see him finally having a good race today.
Yeah, definitely. You do have these drivers where if they do have a bit of bad luck here and there, or they continue to have incidents, you know, as commentators, you know, we become part of these championships where we are often behind the scenes in the Discord channels and so on, where we can see the drivers communicate, see who's talking to who about what. I've just run over my own headset with my chair and it's nearly ripped my head off my shoulders, so apologies for that horrendous noise. But, you know, we get to see what these drivers are communicating about behind the scenes, how they're behaving, speaking to one another. And, you know, it does sort of paint a picture of some of the drivers for you, and you do start to sort of have favourites. Admittedly, you know, you always remain unbiased as a commentator. You can make it clear when somebody that you like is doing well. Obviously, that's just part of the job. But you know, you never sort of root for them in terms of performances. You never wish that other drivers get beaten or have a bad time of anything. It's never sort of a negative thing for other drivers. There are certain drivers that you think, yeah, it'd be nice to see him get a result, or, you know, that one will go down well, or if they've got a lot of friends in the championship, you know, there'll be a bunch of people rooting for them. And yeah, definitely, there are a bunch of guys like that out there. We don't really know the Spanish boys that well, actually. Carlos Alvarez, Iker Estefania, Ivan Maynard, Carlos Garcia as well. We don't really know those guys as well, unfortunately, but they seem to have brought quite a bit of life to the championship with their own team. Great numbers as well to help bolster the grid. And I think, honestly, I think these cars look absolutely gorgeous. I just think, I'm not sure if you'll agree with me here, Ed, but if you whacked a spec map on that, and you made the sort of, if you made the goldy bits actual, like the Flemish sort of half satin metallic gold, I'm not sure whether the grey bits would look better in silver or just in grey. What do you think?
I think it's silver would make that pop really nicely. I'm not sure about the spec map of making the gold a different colour, but I definitely think a little bit of spec map, a little bit of silver on that would make it pop really nicely. So maybe that's something for World of Sim Racing to try and look into. But I mean, whoa.
He's looking into the walls.
Yeah, that's shaking a little bit of paint off of those rims. They're going to be very, very silver and shining after that. That was very scary stuff from Carlos Alvarez, but it just shows how much he's pushing, and that's the thing that we get with these drivers, World of Sim Racing. They're always pushing. They're never ever giving up, are they? They've been really, really exciting to see. And oh dear, Philip Russell I think has pushed a little bit too hard there and found the wall.
Yeah, that's the latter end of whatever's gone on. So we'll try and see if we can catch this moment, because this was the last thing that showed up. So we'll stick with Philip for a minute here and just see if anything else happened on this lap. He overtook Brian Loynes when he was in the pits, and then Brian, after this incident, has obviously got back ahead now that Philip has gone into the pits himself. Actually, no, to be fair, Brian hasn't come back out of the pits. It's just that Philip's pit box is behind Brian's, so that's why he's there. This is where he had the moment before. Is he just going to overdo it over the crest? Oh, he's just a bit too quick and into the wall. And that is as easy as it can be, I'm afraid. Matthias Groen has also had a problem. Whoa! Big old spin and a slide. He's done very well there not to actually hit anything, hasn't he, Ed? That's a scary moment.
Very, very worrying there, but keeps it going, which is always good to see.
Yeah.
We've had far too many drivers meet with the barriers today, so
oh yeah,
if drivers can avoid it, that's it's very comforting to see. We don't want to see anyone having any more incidents.
No, definitely not, and it is very, very easy to clatter it into the wall. The car's looking a bit more bright and colourful now that the lights are really shining on the infield of the circuit. It looks absolutely great, doesn't it, actually? Considering that these cars don't have headlights, I think this looks absolutely stunning right now. But that's part of the charm of the Roval, is the fact that it is so well lit at night. It would be great to see iRacing implement a bit more night lighting on more of its circuits like this, you know, similar to the sort of night races that you see in Formula One, you know, the Singapore Grand Prix, especially Saudi Arabia and Jeddah. You know, the night lighting in those races really adds a lot of charm to it. And I think if we had night lighting at Belle Isle and a bunch of the other street circuits, of which there are a lot more now in iRacing, I think it'd be great to see them there. Now, and yeah, I've got Dutch UK Racing saying Mr. Groen is pronounced it Matthias Groen. Yeah, I thought it was either Matthias or Matthias, like Matthhias. But yeah, Matthias Groen. Thank you very much, and we hope you, of course, enjoy the broadcast. Iker Estefania into the pits, and a very, very quick stop indeed. 4.7 seconds. These guys literally take a couple of drops of fuel out of a pipette and then carry on, don't they?
It's brilliant though, isn't it, Chaz? I mean, we love all the drivers here in this championship, that they just put on a show, really, more than anything else. They really go out and put everything into their driving. And on a circuit like Charlotte, unfortunately, that's seen certain drivers put a little bit too much into it and meet with the barriers. I think plenty of people will be happy to see the back of this circuit, but it's been the same for everyone. Some drivers have lost out, other drivers have really, really gained. I mean, certain drivers, I think, Chaz, we were expecting to gain quite a lot. I mean, it's sad to see Brian Loynes out of the running because he was a driver that we thought was really, really good, really consistent in his pace, and thought he might get a good result, maybe another podium added to his tally. But that's the thing, it punishes mistakes really harshly, tracks like Charlotte, and anyone and everyone is at risk.
They are indeed. They really are, and it's just part of the nature of the beast of these sorts of circuits, I'm afraid. They really can bite you in the backside. This is Martin Deckens. Talking of biting you in the backside, look at the helmet design on that, the Venom-like helmet design. I'm pretty sure it is based off Venom. Looks very, very feisty indeed, but Martin has been flying once again here at Charlotte. Another solid evening of performances. 9.8 seconds clear of his teammate Hans Polmans. Hansi has been just as consistent as ever as well. He was leading the Consistency Class Championship pretty much all season, up until the point where Martin has overtaken him, but I'm sure that Hansi won't mind, because in the Teams Championship it looks very, very good for the pair of them. Speaking of Teams Championship, Mattis Martinsson and his teammate Kevin Zemstra lead that championship at the moment. Mattis makes his way into the pits again, a couple of laps earlier than the cars he's chasing. Zemstra's still running, by the way. He's gone back out there now after a repair and got the car going again, although it won't carry on for too long if he keeps doing that.
Just had a bit of a blink there for a moment, which was a little bit worrying. Hopefully you can hear me, Chaz.
Yeah, all good, mate. All
good. Yeah, good to see Kevin Zemstra. I mean, he's still going, but it's really unfortunate what happened earlier, wasn't it, Chaz? It was just curse of the commentator. I can take full blame for it, you know. I'm not going to put any blame on Kevin Zemstra at all. I'm just gonna completely go on me. So that was unfortunate, I think, from Kevin there. But yeah, that was my bad. I had it at Donington pretty badly as well, wasn't it, with curse of the commentator? I can't remember. Was it Brian Loynes that cursed pretty severely, I think?
Yeah, I think it was Brian. Yeah, but you know, it happens, mate. It's part of the job. You know, we've got the. We're like Emperor Palpatine. We can just point at things with our words and just summon lightning. It's a phenomenal power to have sometimes. I have just reread the Dutch UK Racing message. I apologise. They've mentioned that it's groen, not grown, like we've been saying, and I've been sort of using that as a pun for Matthijs' name for quite a while now, saying that he's going to be groaning about stuff, but yeah, it's groen. So I'm going to try and remember that. So thank you once again, Dutch UK Racing in the chat. Mucho appreciate. And I know that's not how you pronounce that either. Hans Polmans and Martin Deckens into the pits. Iker Estefania goes past the pair of them. We look at Tim Rutten, who is currently third in the consistency class standings of this race. Only 6 laps to go now, Ed. That's gone by very, very quickly indeed, and I'm sure the remaining laps will do as well. Bart Daleman still yet to complete his second stop, but should be only another lap or so before we see him in.
I think the reason why these laps have been going by quicker than we've expected is because Bart Daleman's been miles faster than everyone else, hasn't he? Consistently in the 109s. That's the reason why we're not able to see the drivers out on this Charlotte track for much longer, because he's absolutely racing through. He wants this race over and done with as soon as possible. I mean, he's doing a very good job of securing exactly that. Look how dark the track's gotten now as well, Chaz. It seems to have, just in the past couple of minutes, really start to dim up, and you can see in the infield it gets a lot darker, and then as soon as they come onto the banking, they bask in the floodlights. In fact, there's almost a sort of a clear gap, isn't there, between the infield and then up here.
Yeah, it's actually incredibly dark,
isn't it, on these cars?
Yeah, the middle section is incredibly dark now, actually. I didn't consider that it was going to be that much darker than the outer loop of the circuit, but yeah, it really has made quite the difference there. I love that you get all these different shadows, look, on the right-hand side of the car there from all the infield lighting that they have. It certainly looks good here on iRacing. It's one thing they've constantly been improving is the lighting. It's not the prettiest sim in the world, but I think it's one of the most natural looking for sure. And we always talk about how well it broadcasts, but we're not going to go over that again right now. Bart Daleman into the pits again then. Carlos Alvarez in second place is quite a while back. I assume he'll be coming in as well, because I think he pitted on the same lap as Bart last time that they pitted. He is going to come in from second place, and he slams on the brakes. Another bit of a slide there as he goes in. How long is Bart going to be stationary for? It is 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, 7.9 seconds compared to the 4 seconds of everybody else. Not quite sure why Bart was stationary that long there, to be honest. Let's have a look at Carlos Alvarez, see how long he stays stationary for. Mattis Martinson's going to just go through. It is 4.2 seconds for Carlos Alvarez. Shows you how long the pit stop should be. So
I think Bart was just doing it for security reasons. He has enough of a gap to, you know, not to worry too much about cars in behind.
Yeah, true.
Getting the jump on him. Whereas other drivers think further down, they need to make sure that they take the least amount of fuel possible while still being comfortable enough to make it till the end of the race. I've had quite a few races in recent events in the SRM series where I've taken, I think, a little bit more fuel than I needed to, just because I was in the lead and I didn't really want to risk losing it based on making one mistake by not taking enough fuel on. So
yeah,
I think it's just getting that little bit of insurance policy, spending a few more seconds stationary in the pits. But what's a few seconds when the alternative could be losing out on a race win?
Well, yeah, that's it. I'd rather lose a race win and finish second than not finish a race at all. You know, I'd rather at least get some points for the effort on the night, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It is a championship, so you have to think about the bigger picture with these things. Matthias Grun in the pits. He's going to make his way back out now. 4.02 seconds in the box. A nice quick stop for the Mamba Simsport team. And he makes his way back out onto the circuit once more. Quite a big, wide, open pit exit here, but you get... Whoa! Flipping it, you get cars that close to you. Now, was that Iker Estefania? I believe it was. I was just going to say, you've got a lot of space for cars to go past you, but wow, oh wow, that was a dodgy moment, that. Oh, well, okay. We didn't see too much of that there, sorry. We will go back over this with Iker Estefania. So, coming through the final couple of corners, you know that there's a car in the pits at this point, because obviously you can see them most of the time making that progress. Some sort of crew chiefs and other apps will tell you when there's a car leaving the pits. Round turn 2 we go. To be fair, from there,
it's in his blind spot.
Yeah, you don't even see Matthias Grun at that point, do you? You do not even see him.
Just completely, you know, not in his vision whatsoever.
No.
Very, very fortunate though that there wasn't contact, because that would have been, that would have taken some unpicking, and I think both drivers would have been, what on earth?
Oh no. Matthias Grun
just cut away as Matthias made a mistake into the streets. Just over rotates, hits the curb.
Oh, that's a big old hit as well, that is a big old hit, a nasty angle. Again, another one of those moments that makes you glad it's just sim racing and not real racing. Bart Daleman has been going a lot slower than Mattis Martinson. Bart did a 1:11.2 last time round and is now only 3.5 seconds clear in the lead of the race. What has been going on here? I've not seen any issues for Bart. He had nearly a 20-second lead before. I'm not sure if you can just have a quick look in the actual sim itself, Ed, at the last couple of laps.
I'll have to detach myself from the cams for a minute and try and pick through what on earth has been going on here.
So Bart Daleman on to lap 32 of 33 in almost pitch black conditions on the inside of the circuit. I think we all expected it to be lit enough around there to see, but right now you can barely see the white lines on the road. Kevin Zemstra has had another drama, unfortunately, in the latter stages. He's had a spin at turn 1, and I was going to say I hope he doesn't hit the wall. He does recover the car though, which is good. Nice little spin. Have you seen any sort of pattern with the lap times, Ed, or any major sort of loss of time?
He did a 1:19, but that was his in lap, and then his out lap was a 1:31. So maybe something happened on his out lap. I'm just having a look through. I'm not seeing anything too dramatic. He did a 1:11.2 on lap 30, but no, I'm not seeing anything that's standing out. So I have no idea.
That out lap does sound slow though, considering. Although actually no, it wouldn't, because he crosses the line before he goes into his pit box. So of course it's going to be slow. Anyway, all that aside, the facts are that he's 4 seconds clear now, and he's on to the final lap of the race. Car 1 is P1 once again. P1 in the championship, and there's about 1 metre of visual range on this infield. That's incredibly dark, isn't it? That's almost dangerously dark.
Completely pitch black almost, isn't it, for the drivers? But thankfully, they don't have much longer to go in this race. Bart Daleman goes onto the banking for the final time in anger. And what a performance it has been from him. It's been absolutely stunning from start to finish. Picking up a podium, didn't he, in the sprint race, and looks to round out the night with a race victory. Wonderful drive.
Yeah, it's been absolutely stunning stuff by Bart once again. Really, really strong performance all night. Seemed pretty untouchable in the early stages. A little bit of a moment near the end. Brian Loynes and Philip Russell have both had issues. We'll have to have a look at what has happened there, but out of the final corner one more time. Put your hands together for Bart Daleman taking the win at the Charlotte Roval. Amazing drive. Mattis Martensen, great evening for him. A win and a second place. Carlos Alvarez is going to be next up. I think that was Kevin Zemstra putting the car in the wall there. He was staying out of Bart's way right near the end. Alvarez rounds out the podium for WOSR Club. Martin Deckens and Hans Polmans once again are going to get a 1-2 in the consistency class. Amazing, amazing result for those guys. Once again proving why they are top of their respective championships. Hans Polman's very pleased, as you can see. Tim Rutten, third place. He'll be over the moon with that one as well. But what can you say other than well done, Bart Daleman? Absolutely incredible, incredible performance. I do want to have a quick look back at what happened to Brian Loynes. He's just stopped on the exit of the pits for some reason. And Philip Russell has had this moment. Oh, he's hit the inside wall. No. Oh, and he's just glanced the nose along the wall and taken it off. But there is your race winner, Ed. And again, unbelievable performance tonight. Really, really strong stuff all the way through, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's yet another feature race victory. This man, Bart Daleman, the championship leader, looks to extend his advantage quite considerably now after Charlotte. It's going to be completely in his hands for the remaining rounds of this season. 4 to go, Chaz, and getting into the real business end now as well. Don't forget, though, that the final 2 rounds, no drop scores allowed. So even though Bart Daleman could go into it with a healthy advantage, should those last 2 rounds not go his way, it blows the championship wide open for drivers like Zemstra to try and snatch it at the death.
It will indeed. It's certainly going to be a difficult one to recover from for some of these guys, because Bart has been so top-notch, but hats off to him. Bart Daleman takes the win then tonight. 4.4 seconds clear of Mattis Martensen. A great night for him, though, it has to be said. Carlos Alvarez and Iker Estefania under the radar in 3rd and 4th for WOSR. Martin Deckens and Hans Polmans take another 1-2 for Flemish in the consistency class. Tim Rutten finishes in 3rd in class, 7th overall. Ivan Maynard, the last car on the lead lap. The cars 1 lap down were Taylor Lane, Paul Godden and Adam Osceola. 2 laps down we had Kevin Zemstra and Khan Newen. And then the guys that didn't finish: Matthias Grun, Philip Russell, Ben Hoffman, Brian Loynes, Stephen Grabowski, and unfortunately Jerome Lamy exiting really early on. Could have been really exciting to see Jerome on this circuit as well. We know how much he loves to push the boundaries and get very close to the walls. But you can see Matthias Grun starting the race in the pit lane while everybody else making their way round the final couple of corners. Let's have a look who we can have a chat to, shall we? There's a few drivers in there. Ed, why don't you take the first pick for tonight, buddy?
All right, let's have a little look and see. There's been several drivers coming through. You know what? Let us have a chat with this man, one of the 2 Flemish SimSport drivers that made their way to the top of the consistency class. Let's have a word with Hans Polmans. Hans, well done on your 2nd place in consistency class in that feature race. It's been a tricky round for several drivers, but you seem to get along quite well with this Charlotte track.
Yeah, I drove it a lot when I was still in the iRacing Rookie with the Mazda and the Skip Barber, so I know it very well. And yeah, it's not a difficult layout, but it's easy to hit the wall if you just overdo it just slightly.
Yeah, and then also coming into this, we knew we'd be under the lights for the final race, but just how different was the first race compared to the second with the track temperatures and just the lighting change?
To be honest, I didn't notice it that much. Just the last 2 rounds were a bit more darker than the other. But no, I didn't see any difference in it.
And then, of course, in the championship itself, the consistency, it looks very good for yourself and Martin Deckens. Are we going to see a bit of a battle between the pair of you? Maybe, gloves coming off and seeing what you can do in the next 4 rounds?
No, he knows where I live, so I'm going to be...
What's his head in your bed if you...
I tried getting him in here, but his English speech is not that well, so...
Oh, shame that...
He's shy, I think. More shy than unable to speak it.
Oh, no, I had that with Hopley the other day. I had to drag him in and get him interviewed because he's a little bit of a interview shy person, but we love that, don't we, Chaz? We love to have drivers come in even if they aren't used to it because it means that we can get under the skin and make them comfortable now. It's wonderful to hear from you, though, Hans, and congratulations on your results tonight. Looking very good for you in the championship. Is there anybody, though, you'd like to give a shout out to on the broadcast here?
Yeah, the entire team, of course, as always, and our sponsor, Viraco. Just a question for you, Chaz. Did you get a tan from Barcelona?
I did
You looked a bit pale in the pictures.
I did get a bit of a tan from it, to be honest with you, on the final day. I had Monday off in Madrid, which was nice, so I basically stood on a hill and stared at the airport for about 4 hours and got bitten by all the ants. But to be honest, it was the Friday and the Saturday where it rained all day that caught me off guard, so all I took with me was shorts and skinny jeans, so it didn't really work out that well clothing-wise, but yeah, I got a nice tan, thank you very much. It was alright.
You looked a bit pale, so I think you live in the basement as well a bit.
Well, I'm going to Imola next Friday, and last time I was there, it's 38 degrees, so I hope it's the same again, and then I can prove you wrong and get a tan.
Oh, so you're a lobster by Tuesday.
Oh yeah, definitely. My scalp is ruined. My hair's thinning out these days, so my scalp's ruined.
All right.
Wonderful stuff, Hans. Great to have a word with you. We'll have to wrap up now, though, and let Chaz get back to his basement.
Yep. Till next week.
See you, Hansy. Cheers.
Bye.
What an absolute legend. Absolute legend. Loves taking the mick out of me, does Hansy. He's a good lad. Fantastic with the banter as ever. And, well, I mean, we say banter. There was nothing banterous about tonight. Bart Delman absolutely buried the opposition in that second race. However, we do have to ask, Mr. Daleman, obviously congratulations, but what happened near the end of that second race? We saw the gap go down from 20 seconds to about 4.
I forgot to take off the tire.
Oh, so it was just a long... Is that why the... Oh, yeah, because the stop was longer. For God's sake, Chaz.
Yeah, I forgot to take off the tires, and then I had to struggle on the cold tires. So
I see.
Three laps. So Matisse came closer and closer, and then the tires kicked in, and it was okay again.
Right, okay, so I basically, when I looked at it and saw 20 seconds, it must have been as you were coming out of the pits and it was sort of recalculating the gaps because for some reason it just went completely backwards for me. But either way, I mean, you look like you were in a good rhythm out there tonight. Even the first race as well, you know, you didn't quite get the win or anything, but it seemed like you were in a good rhythm and overtaking people, surviving the mayhem. Talk us through it.
Yeah, race 1 was all about surviving. I think Kevin and Brian were fighting against each other, so I was really waiting on what was going to happen there. I tried once to go 3 wide, but I thought, yeah, maybe better not to go in that chicane. So yeah, it was okay. A little bit too bad. I don't know what happened with Kevin. If I hit him or something, we were side by side, and yeah, I don't know. I must rewatch that.
Yeah, there was a tiny bit of contact. I think it was your left rear to his right front, and it just launched his car over the curb, and then after that his car understeered through turn 1, then oversteered turn 2 over the crest, hit the inside wall, and then that was it. End of the race for him, unfortunately. It ripped both the right hand wheels off the car, and then that was that. But it's such a flowing circuit and such a fast circuit, but it looked like the cars were understeering all over the place tonight. Did it feel like that from inside the cockpit?
No. For me, at least not. At least the first laps it did, but once the cars were, the tires were really in their windows, it was really good. The car really rotated well, and for me personally, it was pretty good.
Well, it certainly looked to us like the car sort of pivoted in and then just sort of stayed sideways for ages before it got the traction, but interested to hear that wasn't quite the case, so maybe Ed and I were completely misled visually. Obviously looking strong in the championship right now, only a couple more race meetings to go. Do you feel like you're close to getting one hand on the trophy, or are you still sort of not getting ahead of yourself?
No. I mean, if I get crushed, I mean, I had already a lot of bad races, and there are only 4 drop races. So most of my drop races are already there, already used. So I mean, one bad meeting where I don't score points, and Kevin is back in it. So we have to keep pushing. Hockenheim is one of my weakest tracks, which he will get some points there if he stays on the track, and then we'll see.
Well, we'll keep our eye out for it, mate, and see what's what. But before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to?
Thank you, Chaz. Thank you, Ed, for the broadcast. Thank you, Simstickers. And thank you, Paul, because Mamba Sim Sports and Simstickers Racing are going to merge. So,
awesome.
Thanks, Paul, for having me at Simstickers Racing. Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Well, great to hear it, buddy. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you next time around, mate.
Yeah, see you next time, Chaz.
Cheers. I'm just having a bit of a moment with my internet right now, everybody, so please do bear with me a second as we drop a massive load of frames. But this is just the wonderful world of my internet at the moment. It says we're getting still 8.5 meg up, which is the normal amount, but for some reason it's just dropping half of the frames, which is always good fun. What we will do in the meantime, just to try and have a word, we'll leave the wonderful Ed May with Mattis Martinsen, the final interview of the evening.
Yeah, with Mr. Mattis Martinsen, and congratulations, mate. That was a brilliant evening from you, taking a very good drive in the first race, taking the race victory, and then the second to come through in second place after a dominant drive up through the field. You've got to be pleased with that result.
Yeah, but I mean, even though I had some pace, it's still, I gotta find like 15 seconds over the feature race descent to Bart. It's still not good enough.
Yeah, it was a shame you didn't quite get the edge on Bart in the feature race, but I think Bart was just absolutely at home here at Charlotte. He was really, really quick in qualifying, so I wouldn't beat yourself up over that at all. It's been wonderful as well, I have to say, Mattis, to see you back up towards the front of the field. We've seen your pace, we've seen you show good moments, but the races just haven't come in your favour until today with your first race victory.
Yeah, it's probably the best, like the first track since Sebring that I've actually driven before or actually liked. Haven't had that much time to practice. I think Imola was the first time I drove it for this, and I think I did 16 laps or something.
Ooh, so not the most experienced driver, it seems, with you, Mattis. But what about Hockenheim? Is that a track that you've been able to get some knowledge of?
I think I've driven it a couple of times, maybe. It's not the hardest track to drive, though, so I think I can get around it.
Got to do some more practice, mate. We want to see you up there fighting at the front for wins yet again, mate.
I wish.
Anyway, thank you very much. And is it, for us, well, one thing that we have to clear up here, myself and Chaz, because we're awful with names. Are we pronouncing it right when we say Mattis Martinsen, or is it Matisse? Matthijs?
Yeah, you're correct.
Thank God for
that's a big relief for me and Chaz being able to get this right. But thank you very much, Mattis, and congratulations on your race victory in your second place. Before we round out the show for tonight, though, the floor is yours if you've got any people you'd like to give thanks to.
You guys for the broadcast and my team, and feel bad for Kevin for those 2 results today.
No problem, mate. Good to have a word with you, and we'll wish you all the very best for Hockenheim that we'll go to in a week's time.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely stuff. So, that rounds out our evening here, Ed, and to be honest, it's been another absolute corker. Very, very exciting racing, but a lot more attrition than we expected, mate. It certainly has shaken things up in the championship order. Well, maybe except for Bart Daleman, the man himself, doing an amazing job as ever, isn't he?
Yeah, he has been absolutely stunning all season long and looks to continue that run of form. But Hockenheim, you've seen drivers, you know, pull a few upsets at that track. It's one that can favour quite a few different driving styles. So drivers that maybe didn't get on so well at Charlotte will really see them back on form at Hockenheim. So I'm really looking forward to it in a week's time, Chaz. You know what? Can we just have them every day? I want to do this every day. This is brilliant.
It really is. It's a fantastic series to be a part of, and it's great fun to see. It's amazing that we're already so far through the season, actually, but hopefully we can manage to get another championship of this underway again very quickly, very soon. Still, we have 4 race meetings left to go in the NEVO Sim Stickers Formula 3 series. Thanks once again for joining us, everybody. I've been Chaz Draycott with the wonderful Ed May alongside me. We will see you in is it a week or 2 weeks, actually? It's next week, isn't it?
I think it's a week. I've got it down on my calendar as the 5th of May.
Okay, so as soon as we're finished celebrating Star Wars Day, we will be back with you, everybody. But as for now, have a great evening, and we'll see you very soon. Good night.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.